what happens is every president has a fixed tenure of only 1 year. And I was determined that I was not just going to walk in and walk out of the post. It was not for power or prestige, but to serve society.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Sunny Pancholi, and today we are honored to have with us a distinguished veteran in the field of ophthalmology. With a remarkable career spanning over 4 decades, Dr. Quresh Maskati has made exceptional contributions to corneal surgery and ophthalmology. He has not only pioneered advanced surgical techniques, but also dedicated himself to education and community service, earning multiple accolades along the way. Thank you for being here, Dr. Maskati, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. Your presence is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Sunny. It's wonderful to be with you, and I am enjoying every moment already with FaceTime with Leaders, with such a personality conducting the interview.
Thank you so much, sir. I am humbled. So to begin with, Dr. Maskati, with an illustrious career in ophthalmology spanning over 4 decades, it must have been quite a journey for you. So can you take us through some key experiences and milestones that have shaped your path in this field? And what were some moments that truly defined your passion for ophthalmology?
See, I didn't always want to take ophthalmology because I had chronic sinusitis and cold growing up. So I was more familiar with the ENT doctors who explained everything about the anatomy of the nose and the sinuses. So actually, I thought when I took medicine, I should take ENT because I know so much about it already from what you call ABBT or personal experience. But that was not to be. My father was an ophthalmologist and head of the Department of Ophthalmology at KEM, and so I did drift into ophthalmology. Let me give you just a couple of things. I was keen at that time. Super specialization was not there. Most eye surgeons were general ophthalmologists. They did everything from the front of the eye, that's the cornea, to the back of the eye, the retina, and everything in between, including cataract surgery. I was keen that I get into super specialization, and for that I had to go abroad because there were no super specialty institutes like you have at Hyderabad and Chennai. You have these wonderful ones now, but they were after my time. So I went to the UK and to the US for training, came back very enthused that I'll be a corneal surgeon. And then my first roadblock, corneal grafts or eyeballs, which were donated by people, were only given to government hospitals. And here I was coming back to do private practice. So I asked the government, I said, why will you not give the eyeballs to private practitioners? They said, no, it's against the law. Unfortunately for them, I had read the law. And there was only the Bombay Corneal Grafting Act of 1957, which didn't say anything about it. So I told them, you're allowed to give it to me. He says, no, but that it's legal. They looked it up and they said, sir, it is legal, but it is immoral. And at that time in the early 80s, I told them that, look, if a business scion, and I had named the late J.R.D. Tata at that time, if he was requiring a corneal graft, you would send him to Vienna. Foreign exchange of the country is scarce, but you would give him that much money to go and pay for a corneal graft. I would do the same service here at 1/10 or 1/20th the price, and you would not give me a cornea. So I had to really hit myself against a brick wall to break the taboos and old myths which were there, and to allow eye surgeons to earn a decent living as corneal surgeons and to charge for their services. So that was right in the beginning of the career. Things have changed a lot, and we now have a Cornea Society of India with about 1,000 members, all practicing corneal grafts and corneal surgery. Let's cut back from 40 years to now, something which gave me the greatest pleasure. I do a lot of artificial cornea, and I got the opportunity to see a Pakistani blind patient on a visit to Lahore. I tried to get him to Mumbai to do an artificial cornea. He was blind both eyes since 5 years because of an accident, but visas were not forthcoming. So when I went to Sri Lanka for a conference, I requested the Sri Lanka authorities. They gave me special permission to operate. I called the Pakistani patient to Sri Lanka, operated him, and restored sight. So we've come a long way from the time when I was banging my head to get corneas to doing corneal grafting and artificial cornea in a third country. But it's a wonderful journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a wonderful journey, and it's truly inspiring to hear how your experiences have shaped your passion for ophthalmology. So, Dr. Maskati, given your extensive experience, what do you believe sets India apart in the field compared to other parts of the world? And are there any specific advancements or approaches here that you feel give India an edge in ophthalmic care?
I think it's our culture which is so much more friendly than abroad. Yes, we are at par with the US or Europe as far as technology is concerned, as far as equipment is concerned. Way back in the late 80s, the government made sight-saving equipment import completely duty-free. That opened the floodgates, and we got the best of lasers and machines and microscopes into the country at competitive rates. And now, last 10 years or so, with the Make in India movement, most of these are also being made in India and are world class. So our equipment is excellent. Our eye surgeons, we have excellent institutes, so the training is excellent. And the amazing thing is that we have such a large patient population. An average eye surgeon during training will perhaps operate 100 or 200 cataracts, while an average eye surgeon in training in the US or anywhere else will do perhaps 20 cataracts. So our hands become more skilled. The second thing I feel is accessibility. A patient can access a doctor no matter his paying capacity. If he can't afford, he walks into a government or a municipal hospital and gets virtually free of charge. If he's in a tier 2 or tier 3 city, even there you've got doctors with excellent equipment doing things at very reasonable charges because they have volumes of patients. They don't have to charge a bomb. And for the sophisticated and those in tier 1 cities, they get the same service and the same 5-star treatment as they would get anywhere abroad. So that is where India scores. And I think we are not doing enough to encourage medical tourism for patients to come into our country from abroad for treatment. We need to open our doors and improve our medical visas.
That's really insightful, Dr. Maskati, and it's great to hear how India is excelling in this field. All right, so as we delve deeper into your remarkable expertise, it's fascinating to note that you are the only ophthalmologist in Asia with extensive experience in both Pintucci and Boston Keratoprosthesis. I hope I pronounced this right.
Absolutely. You can just say artificial cornea. Yeah.
Yes, artificial cornea. And can you share what inspired you to specialize in these complex surgeries and how they have shaped your practice?
Actually, it's a very Hindi filmy type of story. We had one professor, Dr. Stefano Pintucci, who came to India in 97 and for a conference in Mumbai on ocular trauma. And he was presenting a paper on the Pintucci keratoprosthesis for chemical burns. And I had a poor patient in a charitable hospital, which I was seeing with extremely bad chemical burns. So I went up to him. I remember he was staying in a 5-star, and I told him, sir, if you don't mind, could you come and have a look at this patient? He was kind enough to come. And he says, I've never seen such a bad case. I said, could you do a Pintucci keratoprosthesis for this patient? He says, we could, but it is 100% going to fail. I said, sir, as it is, he's going blind, so there is no other choice. So could you help me? So he came, he had brought his equipment with him at that time. He came, he operated with me in a charitable hospital. The patient remained blind. The operation did not succeed. But I saw the tremendous potential of this Pintucci keratoprosthesis. And I was very inspired by that. And I was therefore the first one to start doing this in Asia. And Pintucci unfortunately died a premature death. So I always joke that youngsters shouldn't take up keratoprosthesis because it's detrimental to your health. But by that time, I had moved on to another keratoprosthesis called the Boston Keratoprosthesis. Since 2009, I've been doing that. And Sunny, actually, I'm the only person in the world, not Asia, to have experience with both the Pintucci and the Boston K-Pros. The K-Pro is a surgery of last resort. When a natural corneal transplant cannot be done, like in bad chemical burns or severe dryness of the eye, or repeated failed corneal grafts, that is where an artificial cornea comes in. So it's a complex surgery, but very rewarding because you are restoring sight to a blind person. Usually we do it in patients who've lost both eyes and restore sight in one eye. Thanks.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely. And really, it's incredible to hear about your journey into this specialized surgeries, and your dedication really shines through. Amazing, amazing. Dr. Maskati, during your tenure as president of the All India Ophthalmological Society in 14 and 15, the largest eye surgeon society in the world, what key initiatives or achievements are you most proud of, and how did they impact the field of ophthalmology in India and beyond?
See, what happens is every president has a fixed tenure of only 1 year. And I was determined that I was not just going to walk in and walk out of the post. It was not for power or prestige, but to serve society. I just looked upon it as a method of serving society. And India is now inching towards being what we call the diabetic capital of the world. We are getting more and more patients of diabetes. And we didn't have much data, Indian data, about how many diabetic patients get eye disease. And what I said was, I've got a brilliant opportunity because I can reach out. At that time, emails in 10 years back was quite well developed. So I reached out to all. At that time, we had 17,000 members. Now we have 25,000. I reached out on email to all of them and asked them if they would participate with me in a particular week in November, which is called the Diabetic Week, the world over. And in that 7 days, if they would see free of charge diabetic patients and record that they saw 100 diabetic patients, 20 had diabetic eye disease, and treat them free of charge if they could, or refer them to government facilities for treating. But the idea was data collection. And so we did this in all the 25 odd states of India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. In a particular week, we gathered almost the data of almost 20,000 patients across the country. And that data has come in very useful. We wrote it up in a professional paper in our journal. And that is one of the most quoted articles on diabetes in India, because that's the only authentic one. After that, people have done several such surveys, but I'm happy that we made a difference as when I was president of the AIOS, or All India Ophthalmological Society.
That's truly impressive, Dr. Maskati, and your leadership has clearly had a lasting influence. So moving ahead, you earned a gold medal in your medical education at KEM Hospital, which is an impressive achievement, of course. So as a young leader, you also become president of the Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society. So what challenges did you encounter during that time, and how did those experiences shape your journey in ophthalmology?
So it was what you might call relative youth on my part. The Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society at that time was not very democratic, in the sense that there were very senior people who kept appointing their own friends as president year after year. And the society was sort of wallowing in, mediocrity. There was no improvement happening because no youngsters were being pushed in. So I, as usual, read the constitution, found that there was no age bar. And before I was 40, I applied to be the president of the Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society. Till then, for the last 20 years, there had never been any elections because nobody ever stood, because it was always by appointment. And then when I stood and the then coterie appointed a senior person, I went up to him and told him, "Sir, you are my father's age. And would you like to contest an election with me?" He says, no election. So-and-so told me to stand. So I'm standing. I said, "Sir, I am prepared with plans and projects for the year. If you would allow me, otherwise I'll be happy to fight an election." And he moved away so I could become the president. And I changed the concept. So after me, I encouraged youngsters to take up presidentship, and still hold the record for being the youngest ever president of Maharashtra Ophthalmic. During that time, I visited every district, every revenue district of Maharashtra, and looked at firsthand the problems of ophthalmologists in tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's very different from problems in Mumbai, where I practice. They have competition from Ayurveds, from from business people who start hospitals and employ doctors at a pittance. So we tried to solve those issues, different issues. Availability of drops, eye drops, quality eye drops was not there. So we tried to do all that. So we did make a difference. And now the MOS of Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society is on very firm grounds, with younger people becoming presidents, secretaries, and taking an active interest.
Great, great, great. Your journey really exemplifies the dedication and resilience needed in the field, sir. All right. So, moving on to my next question, as we look towards the future of healthcare, technology continues to be a game changer in many aspects. So, what role do you believe technology will play in enhancing ESG compliance and governance, particularly talking about the healthcare sector?
You see, there are so many new developments as far as technology is concerned, and I feel sad that the medical sector. I'm not talking about healthcare, not the pharma sector so much. They've embraced it, but the medical sector, the private practitioners, the doctors, they are still, in a time warp, as it were. And it's going to be my ambition going into the future to break that time warp. Let us all embrace technology. In a small way, we have EMRs, or electronic medical records, which we keep. Telemedicine is making headway, though not as fast as I would like it to. And when you have an EMR, data analysis becomes that much easier. You can present. We have so much data of patients. As I said, we see 10 times the number of patients anybody abroad sees, but we don't publish our data enough, so that the world is not aware of the advances that we are making. So all this has to change, and I think technology will help us, and it will be my goal. I'm not stopping, I'm not resting on my laurels as president of this or that society, but to push this further, so that the medical fraternity embraces technology much, much more than it has done.
Absolutely, your insights really highlight the importance of innovation in advancing ESG goals. Okay, so Dr. Maskati, given your inspiring long-term goal of eradicating corneal blindness and your plan to publish simplifying eye care in multiple languages, it's clear you are dedicated to making a difference. So if you could achieve one more significant milestone in your career, what would it be and why?
So this book, Simplifying Eye Care, which I wrote for the benefit of patients and the common man, is actually written in very simple, easy to read language, with a lot of humor in it and some cartoons and things like that. And I keep updating it. So now it's in its third edition. Unfortunately, my expertise extends only to the English language. I've requested friends to try and publish it in different languages. Cost is not the criterion at all. I would happily give it away for free to whoever wants the book. But aside from that, as I said, my goal, my expertise being in cornea, two things that we are researching is I'm trying to make even better artificial corneas. And I hope that one day the need for human corneas, we take corneas from a dead person and transplant it. It's very noble, it works, but body can reject it. About 20% of corneas get rejected, while rejection is not there in artificial corneas, but artificial cornea surgery is very complex. So hardly 1 to 2% of corneal surgeons are doing this. So my aim is to try and simplify this and eliminate the need for human corneas, so that if you have a good plastic cornea which can be sutured to the eye and stay there just as well as a human cornea, then rejection and other things will not be there. And we'll be able to give hope to so many more corneally blind, not only in India, but across the world. And I look to India being a leader in this technology as well.
That's so powerful vision for the future, Dr. Maskati. And it's really inspiring to see how dedicated you are to advancing eye care. Amazing, amazing, great. I'm loving this conversation with you, sir. All right, so moving ahead with our next question. And as we wrap up our conversation, I would love to hear your thoughts on how your involvement with the Directors Institute has shaped your perspective on corporate governance, and what insights have you gained, and what would you like to share with our viewers today?
Sunny, my involvement with Directors Institute was so coincidental. I was just surfing the net and I saw this advertisement of Directors International asking whether you would want to be a director. And my curiosity was aroused because here I am, straitjacketed in a medical profession, seeing patients, operating patients, seeing patients, operating patients, and attending conferences. It was all a set routine. And I was getting, after 40 years, I was yearning to do something different, but then you can't really become a javelin thrower or something like that. So at this age, so I was looking for something different, and at the same time something which would not be completely away from my career, but something which would complement this. And I just saw this ad. I googled it. I looked up a little bit on Directors Institute, and they were offering a training program to become what is called an international independent director in companies. And then something clicked. I said, maybe I can use this opportunity. If I ever do become an independent director, maybe I can get into the healthcare segment, influence, say, pharma companies or technology companies in healthcare to go along my path, to follow my goals. Not immediately, not thrusting it down them. I'm not aiming to be chairman of a company tomorrow, but slowly but surely trying to shape the future of healthcare in the country in the direction that I want to go. That means technology savvy, using technology for the benefit of patients, for the benefit of mankind. And of course, I know the bottom line is profit for a pharma company or a healthcare company. I'm not against that. I've been making a profit. That's why you see me in a jacket today. But to use it so that for mutual benefit, the company benefits, patients benefit. And I thought this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Because of my busy schedule, I have not been able to go through the course as fast as I should be. But hopefully in a few months, I'll get there. And I really thank the Directors Institute because their training has been so systematic and so phenomenal. I felt I was in medical college again after so many years, learning something new, making notes. I feel like a teenager and I'm so excited. I can't wait to become a director and contribute in my own way wherever I can. Thanks, Sunny.
It's absolutely great to hear how the Directors Institute has enriched your perspective, and your candid insights have been truly enlightening, Dr. Maskati. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experiences with us today.
Sunny, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And once again, I thank directors and the international and you for giving me this opportunity to put forward my views. And if I have offended anybody by being a little candid, I apologize straight away. But my intention is to move forward and help all. Thanks, Sunny.
Amazing, Dr. Maskati. And we at Directors Institute wish you continued success in your mission to improve eye care and make a lasting impact in the field. So that wraps up today's episode. We cannot wait to bring you more inspiring stories and valuable insights from extraordinary leaders in our next installment. Until then, keep making a difference and keep finding joy in every step of your journey. Thank you so much and have a nice day.